Ready? Shazam!
Shazam!
Shazam! Dude,
Shazam!
could you imagine being the person listening to this and then you hear that? Blow the freaking ears out.
I'd be so happy.
It'd be so.
Jake did not know, or rather did not remember that in the first movie, he didn't know his name was Shazam!
No, all he knows is that that is what he needs to
To
say
say,
to become Shazam.
don't they say the words Captain Marvel in this movie?
They do. They're looking at like a name, and the guy goes, Captain Marvel.
And it's not like it's too subtle. Like they needed to let that
Linger a little
they
bit,
needed to let that be more on the nose.
for sure.
Yeah.
So today we're here to talk about Shazam,
Not John Wick.
not John Wick. Oh, we just spent an hour and like 12 minutes talking about John Wick, and I
Yeah.
could honestly talk about John Wick more.
Yeah. But
Um,
also Shazam was like two fucking movies ago.
oh, it
It was
was.
2 movies ago.
It was. Yeah, we saw
Granted, we
we
said
saw
we
Shazam, then we saw Dungeons and
D&D. Yeah.
Dragons, and yeah,
John Wick.
and John Wick.
Yeah.
Potentially, John Wick could have been twice, but
Yeah.
too late, too sleepy, and too much Resident Evil 4 for my little heart.
Yes.
I am so sad that I cannot finish that movie or that game.
It's all right.
I will not.
Yes.
But anyway, so we have a discussion for the next Shazam movie. Just quick thoughts, really quick. I think the movie's fine. I know it's kind of getting shit on online,
Unjustifiably so.
unjustifiably. So, all right. So before we get into it,
Mhm.
I do think a lot of the stink for this movie is coming on the shoulders of everything going on with DC right now.
Yeah.
We have these mouth breathers who are very upset about the fact that Snyder is not coming back to direct stuff,
Right.
that James Gunn is taking over.
Right. They're
Um,
upset that there's black people in Lord of the Rings.
they're it's the same
It's the same
crowd,
people. Yeah.
right? To the point where I mean, it's got a 51 on Rotten Tomatoes,
Yeah.
5.7 out of 10 like average reviews.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: I think the overall audience likes it. I think
It's a worse version of the last one, and the last one was great. So this is
yes,
just good.
it's yeah. I
Yeah.
think it's more of the stuff that you like from the last one, plus maybe some stuff that doesn't always work
Yeah.
100%. Um, but I think overall, it's still a fun movie.
There are some elements actually where I think and I'll get to this when we get there, but the beautiful thing about Shazam 1 and in this one too is that I think that movie actually found a lane where like this could be a successful brand and like tone of movie that DC could cultivate that wouldn't make it boring and brooding like Snyder movies
Hmm.
and would make it a little edgier than the MCU, where it would feel like, ah, I'm getting something different.
Yeah,
Right? Yeah. I'm getting Dr. Pepper. I'm not getting Pepsi.
yeah.
Right? I'm getting something distinct.
Now, do you feel like this movie captures that same feeling or no?
There's moments. And then there's the good moments that are like also like MCU-esque.
Hmm.
And there's like some poo-poo stuff.
For sure.
But
So I think as far as like what really works for me in this movie, I still think that the not even the main boy, which is kind of the sad thing at the end of the day.
mhm,
Jack Dylan Grazer, I think is his name.
yeah.
He plays Freddie Freeman.
Mhm,
He's the one of the boys from It.
yes.
He plays is it Eddie? I think he plays Eddie.
I don't remember.
Um, and he's so good.
He's very
He
good.
is very good. To like a degree that I feel like even they know, and that's why they had him be
Freddie Freeman.
Freddy
Yeah.
more than like be in his superhero form. Because a lot of the other actors are like in their Shazam form for
Billy
longer.
Billy himself isn't in the movie as much as
No, not
yeah.
even.
In fact, it is Freddie Freeman really is the main kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that works really well. I do think the family dynamic could be a little stronger, but it's still not bad.
It's not. There's
Um,
they the main conflict for this film of like character growth for Shazam, I feel like is told to you and not as much shown to you, which I think is the movie's biggest flaw.
yes, I think we might have the same
Yeah,
idea. We'll talk about it in a second.
yeah.
I think visually speaking, though, it still looks good.
And I like it. And I like this is what I was talking about earlier. I like the edgy monsters. I like that the villain tells
Motherfucker, I said just because they're Greek.
what last one. I liked those monsters. I like
Hmm.
the movie that I like that Lucy Liu and Helen Mirren fucking tell um tell I forget the actor's name, but the teacher. He was also on the Drew Carey show. He has a weird name actually. But anyway, I like that they tell him to basically like go like walk off the roof of the school and like fucking die. And
Oh
like
yeah,
he
he does
he
it.
dies.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's that kind of brand where like that mixed with like the lightheartedness, like actually very much for me makes this work
Hmm.
as a DC film.
Yeah, there and the fact that he doesn't get saved.
Yeah,
I half expected that guy to
yeah.
like walk off the roof and then like one of the
Mm.
other Shazams would have caught the teacher.
The closest you get to this in MCU to me is like Doctor Strange too, but that
Hmm.
all that grisliness is visual grisliness. This is
Yes,
like
implied.
yeah, but not just implied, but it's like, oh, holy shit, like a teacher fucking killed himself because he
Oh,
was
fair.
like controlled. Like
Yeah.
that's some heavy ass shit. And
Yeah, and I think that's but that I attribute more to like the director himself.
and it works. But and you can
Um,
do that in the movie where you've got like, Shazam doing finger guns as jokes. Like the
yeah.
tone works in this film.
Yeah, and like I said, that is his style. David F. Sandberg is known for like a lot of really good horror stuff.
Hmm.
Um, and that's what I think I like the most about the last movie too. Like the first Shazam movie, like had some horrifying things,
Yeah.
like the boardroom scene where like
Yeah.
what's his name, Dr. Zavala like releases all the monsters and like just people just get torn up and that like it's you don't see it,
Right.
but it's the idea that this is happening
Yeah.
that's like really scary. And there's a lot of those things that still come back here, and that really works.
Hmm.
I agree. I think Lucy Liu and Helen Mirren, I don't want to say they're underutilized. They're not really. I would have loved to see more of them.
Yes.
Like again, is what you said. We are told that like things are bad for them.
We're told that things are bad for
We're
them.
told that their world is dead, but I don't know what it is.
We're also told that the character problem that Shazam has to overcome is he's too much of a control freak. And like, granted, they try to show it to us, but the whole time I'm like, nah, he's just like keeping these people organized.
That Billy's a control freak?
Yeah, because they're like, oh, Billy is like being too much of a control freak. Like, he needs to lay out, like he needs to loosen up. Like that's like the conflict the inner conflict they set up for Billy.
Yeah, so I
And
guess
I
the
don't buy it.
explanation for that is better than the execution of it.
Yeah,
So the main explanation, and this I don't even think this is really a spoiler. Honestly, let's just get into spoilers. I don't give a fuck.
yeah. It
Um,
was 2 weeks ago.
it was 2 weeks ago. Movie was good.
Yeah,
It's not going to be remembered as much, unfortunately,
no, because it
but
bombed.
it bombed
Yeah.
hard. But anyway, his main conflict is that like he's about to age out of like the system, and he's afraid that his parents are going to basically kick him out
Which
once
feels
he's.
like it doesn't actually get introduced to us for a little while.
It doesn't get introduced at all.
Yeah,
He just says it.
I think the sister might say it first.
Does she?
Yeah,
Was that when I went to the bathroom?
maybe. I think she says it first, and then at the end he brings it up to his stepmom. But like the parents aren't really like parents don't have a lot to do in this movie. Like,
And I think that's the problem. The problem is like maybe the sister said it. Maybe because I think I did go to the bathroom during a part. But my main concern here was like the parents are not shown enough, and because of that, I never get a sense that they would be those types of people. Every scene that
yes,
they're in, they are super loving, they're super caring. The fact that Mary is older than Billy,
yeah,
right? She's in college, right?
She's of college age. I don't remember if she's able to go to college.
Something
Yeah,
like that. But she
yeah,
talks about college or
yeah.
wanting to have gone to college.
Right.
So we know she's definitely over 18 and they did not kick her out. What
Why would
makes
they do that to Billy?
Billy believe that he would get kicked out? Like, I don't think yeah,
No.
he's not shown to like be at odds with mom or dad
No.
that he would even consider this would be a problem.
And that's actually this film and Quantumania for me suffer the similar issue where there's like 20 minutes missing in the beginning. Like there's
Hmm.
20 minutes of setup that I feel like is necessary to make these threads fall through,
Exactly.
which is ironic because we were just doing John Wick, and that movie is long,
Yeah.
right? And it's all in its long flash, right?
Yeah.
It's and yet like that movie feels it's earned its runtime. Where
Hmm.
like both those movies are more poorly made movies, and you're like, you know what? If you added some actual just like quantity, like
Yeah.
like there could have been more quality.
This really does need it needs a little bit more. It needs some sort of like substance to that.
Some sort of expedition rising action at the end of this
Exactly.
movie. Yeah.
Because this movie just fucking starts,
Yeah.
right? We do have a really cool scene. I did really enjoy the team working together to save the bridge. And
Yeah.
by the way, fuck Philly.
One bridge.
Fuck Philly.
Yeah.
The one, what is that from?
Builder.
Is that what it
I
is?
don't know.
One city, one
You
bridge having
motherfucking one
ass.
bridge having city.
This bridge is falling apart.
Yeah.
And they saved everybody. I think it's like no casualties.
Yeah.
And they're like, the Philly fiascos strike again.
Hey, the thing is, I like that dynamic. I think that dynamic makes the movie more
It
interesting.
makes it funny, but dude, fuck the city.
But once again, it's a tell don't show. Whereas like Captain America: Civil War, right? And Avengers 2, like
Hmm.
you see that the Avengers had collateral damage, and like
Yeah.
it makes sense that people would be mad at them. So
Hmm.
like I feel like there's like a couple scenes that where you do see their sloppiness in this film, but I feel like you need to show a little bit more of like, oh,
Yeah.
they're sloppy. They're kids who are in adult
Which, yeah,
bodies.
they
Yeah,
are.
yeah,
And people wouldn't know
right.
that, right? They see this grown ass woman save them,
Yeah,
but then she's like, look at the kittens,
yeah,
which is hilarious.
yeah.
Um, speaking of like these kids being kids, my biggest issue with this movie is Shazam himself.
Mm,
Why is it that like and again, we don't see enough of Billy.
right.
Why is it that Billy acts entirely different as Shazam than Billy? It's to a borderline stupid degree. Like
Like,
he's such a klutz and like so ditzy as Shazam,
and not as much as a teenager.
and not as Billy. Like he's
Yeah,
like when Freddy turns into his Shazam form,
right.
Captain Every Power or whatever he calls
Yeah.
himself, like
Which I
he
don't think he even
still
does. He call himself
acts.
that, or do
He
people
calls
call?
himself
Okay,
that.
yeah, yeah,
He acts like himself. He acts like the same way that Freddy acts with his
yeah. With
brothers, his
Freddy, yeah, I
sisters,
mix it. Yeah,
with the crush and everything.
yeah.
But when Billy is talking as Billy, and then when Shazam is talking,
Shazam is a regression.
he is like it's like a 5-year-old. He acts more childish than Daria or Darla, whatever her name is, the little
Yeah.
girl. It's so like weird to me.
It's kind of what to me is hard. Uh, there's an inherent like drawback to this movie being the best DCEU movie
Hmm.
in the sense that this movie has the biggest like ticking time bomb of like the actual real world factors you need for this film.
I
It's
think you
like,
talked about this when the movie got out,
yeah,
right?
it's tough because it's like, oh man, you need these kids to be kids, and like even though they did the fix for the older sister, like they can't like they can't last like the whole like that, and it would be different if this movie were like Ant-Man tier on like the
The totem
in the
pole.
catalog. I was not going to use appropriative language, sir.
Wow. All
um,
right.
but it's their best
It.
movie.
I think so.
So it's kind of unfortunate. They're like, the best.
People would argue maybe Wonder Woman is their best movie. I
It's
don't like the third act.
it's Shazam.
I think it's Shazam. I
It's
agree.
Shazam. Yeah, Wonder Woman has not aged well.
No,
No.
I haven't seen it
Yeah.
in a couple years.
Yeah.
Um, Interesting.
Yeah. So it kind of does suck that like this one has to account for the issues of like these actors aging out of their kid roles because you have to at least keep Billy as a kid, right? Because that's his whole deal that he's a child who like does this.
Hmm.
But then as the actor himself gets older, right, that actor's acting chops are like questionable in terms of like how silly he can,
Hmm.
wants to keep acting or can keep acting as he nears adulthood.
Yeah.
Zachary Levi can still be cartoonish. And
Hmm.
as a libertarian, obviously he is a cartoon. So,
Is he
so
actually a
he's a
libertarian?
libertarian. Yeah.
Oh, that
Yeah.
explains a couple things.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the biggest, I think for me the issue here is not even the issue actually. Sorry, let me rephrase this. Did the pandemic screw them too much?
It screwed them.
But the problem is Shazam came out in what
19.
2019.
Yeah.
So even if say this movie came out in 2021, two
Right.
years off, like these kids would have still been older.
I don't know how old what's his name is. Billy Batson's actor.
It's like 20.
I'm not going to Google it. But I mean, there's a lot of, you can change a lot physically in 2 years at that young age. But
But
anyway,
the
yeah.
problem that I'm having is I think they didn't do a good enough job at having this. I think the casting is off
Yeah.
for Billy himself. I'm not saying that he's a bad actor. I'm not saying he's a bad choice necessarily. I just don't think he's playing the character consistently.
Yeah.
He's too serious as Billy for me to say, yes, he is this goofy as Shazam. And granted, maybe he could be like, oh, I'm more free. I can be a little bit more, you know, more off my rocker a little bit as this adult body or whatever. I can have more fun. But there's nothing that tells you that he is struggling with that and he's trying to like maybe put up a facade.
No.
That's where I'm
Well,
that's where I'm torn.
that's kind of the gamble of like where you need to cast young people for a long period of time.
Hmm.
Like it worked really well for Harry Potter, for instance, where you had Daniel Radcliffe and Emma Watson, and Rupert Grint was also present, right? And not in a bad way, but he was there, right? And you're like, oh man, like these like fucking kids, like
Yeah.
they were believably good actors throughout, this whole 8 movie process.
Hmm. And I
Right.
think also the fact that like those movies were made more consistently too.
Yep.
And granted, nobody could have predicted
Yeah.
COVID,
Nobody could have predicted going, but
really.
my point is also with Harry Potter, that could have very easily gone
To
the other
shit.
way.
Yeah.
Like one of those kids could have been,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
But anyway, that really is my only like big complaint that I have. Um, Everybody else that's in this, I think did a really good job. I love seeing these like serious actors
Mm,
show up and then just act like children. I
yeah.
think that's got to be so much fun to be like, I'm playing a 9-year-old girl who loves Skittles.
The
Uh,
use of Skittles was excellent.
People shit on product placement,
No, this
but
was
when
great.
product placement
This
hits,
was great This was great
the
marketing.
taste the rainbow motherfuckers
Yeah,
was a great use of like a fake out swear word because they don't actually say it,
yeah.
but it's very good. The taste of rainbow, the way she whispers it sounded so fucking funny. Um, Great use of like the mythical creatures, I think.
Yeah,
Uh, having the unicorn be like
the king of
this
the beasts.
crazy
Yeah,
looking beast
yeah.
was very dope.
Some people shit on the CGI, and I'm not gonna defend the CGI, but I will say like the baddies in this movie do not look like generic, right? Whereas you look at a much better movie, you'll look at the Avengers movie, which is much better, right? But
Mhm.
like the Chitauri are, you know,
They look generic. Yeah, they
they're generic
feel.
fodder, right?
Yeah.
Whereas the fodder here, like oh like that's a Cyclops, like this is a cool ass looking Manticore, right?
Yeah, I think it's because they had a variation in the fodder. I think it helps make it feel less foddery.
Yeah, and it's nice. It
It
makes the
is.
movie stand out a little bit
Hmm.
from what is a very busy genre.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's kind of like in not Endgame, in Infinity War, where you have like the weird like four-armed dog creatures,
yeah, like
but then you also
throwing them at the
have
force
like
field.
you have the Black Court
Yep,
show up, and like all the members are different. You have like Proxima Midnight and
Ebony Maw,
Ebony Maw and all that shit, right? And they help make it feel
less generic.
less generic.
Yeah,
Whereas, like you said, in OG Avengers,
right.
all the Chitauri are the same except for like the big Leviathans, right?
Yeah,
But then those are the ones you remember.
yeah.
You remember the Leviathan.
Mm.
So yeah, you know, I agree. I think having the young girl kind of be way younger than Lucy Liu and Helen Mirren was hilarious. Uh, because I honestly thought that,
I thought she was Lucy Liu.
well, she was Lucy Liu in disguise too.
I thought Helen Mirren was going to be the bigger bitch, and Lucy Liu was
Yeah,
bitter.
what a twist!
Yeah,
What a twist! I love the joke at the expense of Helen Mirren, where he goes, "I've seen all the Fast and Furious movies. It's all about family," and she's in the Fast and Furious movies.
ah,
She plays not Hobbs, Shaw's mom.
but she acknowledged does the character. I don't remember. Does the
She does
character?
not acknowledge it,
Yeah,
but she just kind of looks at him like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
yeah.
Uh, Damon Hansu
Mm-hmm.
is always fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
He is a guy who I always feel like he is underused
Mm.
in a lot of his movies, but I do like his comedy in this,
The
where
wizard is a good character.
the wizard is always a lot of fun. I like how his name is just Wizard.
Yeah,
He doesn't have like he never corrects him. Like it's a wizard.
I like how he's like always actually very disappointed in Billy. Like it's not even like your authentic like not your authentic. It's not even like your typical like teacher like
Hmm.
hero dynamic where like they might be tough on him, but they're like, ah, like this is my son. He's
Hmm.
like, God damn it, Billy.
To be fair, I do. Okay, so it's fine. I do have another problem with this
Yeah,
movie. I don't understand why he's so mad at Billy.
I don't either. I like watching it, but you're right. I don't understand why he's so mad
He
at Billy either.
he sells the disappointment well.
Yeah,
He sells the fact that you feel like he's disappointed in Billy, that Billy fucked up.
right.
But in all honesty, what the fuck was Billy supposed to do? Billy knows Zavala wants his staff,
Yeah,
and this staff is bad news. If he gets his hand on this staff, we're screwed.
gotta break it.
And the wizard should have been like, "Hey, you got to protect this thing. It's very important.
Yeah,
Don't let this
don't let it
A get
fall.
into the wrong hands, and don't destroy it. It's very important."
Right.
That two sentences could have solved this thing.
Yeah, it does not happen.
It does not happen.
He and that's the thing. So back with like the tell don't show, Billy is like the most responsible of the Shazam group, and it's not like the other ones are like totally irresponsible. Freddy is irresponsible.
Freddy is
Freddy is
absolutely
irresponsible.
irresponsible. Mary,
Yeah,
Mary needs more to
yes,
do.
right. But it's interesting because they're like, oh man, you're always like why can't you just like one of us like go like solve this problem? Like why is it all gotta be like all of us together all the time? And I'm like, this is that's the safer play.
It is a
Like
safer
to let
play.
all of you go.
It does make sense
Yeah.
why he wants it, right? He's scared of losing his family, so he wants to keep the family together.
But I'm Team Billy on a practical point.
Yeah,
Like,
for
yes, we
sure.
should like if we all go and like solve this problem, like
Hmm.
better chance of success.
Yeah.
Yeah. Billy is right.
Billy is right.
Yeah, did nothing
Billy is
wrong.
right. I'm not saying he's not.
The movie saying is not, and the movie doesn't prove it to me.
Yes. I think the movie could prove it.
Yes.
Maybe say like buddy system.
Yeah.
Like, hey, just don't go do shit on your own.
Right.
Right? Like, be safe, whatever.
Right.
But like, everybody has to be. Could you imagine how much of a pain that would be if your stepkids or not your foster kids,
Yeah.
suddenly are all gone. Holy shit. That's gotta be
Yeah.
wild as a foster parent, right?
Yeah.
Like if my two dogs just disappeared, I'd be like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah, but these parents are pretty chill.
They
This
are,
has been
but
this has been established.
speaking of the parents though, mom is hot.
Indeed.
That mom is very, very good looking.
Indeed.
Um, did I send you that meme though?
I don't think so. Maybe you
Where
did. I don't remember.
where I was like, if I was a foster kid and this is my stepmom and this is my
Yeah,
foster
it's
sister,
about the
this
elephant.
house turns into Alabama very quickly. Let's get the elephant in the room out of here though. Wonder Woman
Yeah. In the trailer.
in not even the trailer. TV spots, dude.
Oh, bad decision.
TV spots.
Bad decision.
What the hell? Why? So even if it's like the fake out scene where like
Where he's dreaming about.
where he's dreaming about going on a date with Wonder Woman, but then
Yeah.
it's the wizard's face in
Yeah.
hers. Very funny. I like that. That was very funny. It was a funny like callback to the Superman scene
Right.
in the last movie.
Right.
But that's not even the scene they show in the trailer.
No, they show Gal
They show
Gadot's
Gal Gadot's
face.
fucking beautiful face
Yeah.
walking around literally last 4 minutes of the movie.
She's literally used as Deus Ex Machina, right? In the sense that, like, well, I guess not literally, but
No,
she
because she
is the
would.
god. But like, she is the she's able to fix something at the end because she's a demigod,
Yeah,
and it's
she's Chekhov's Wonder Woman,
yeah.
right?
No, that's when you anyway. Long story
I
short,
mean, if
right?
either one, right? Because like for Deus Ex Machina, she needs to show up after she has been.
And fix the problem. So she's what allows Billy to resurrect.
Yeah,
I forget why. I forget. It's something with a demigod. It's because she's a demigod.
they need a god power to rekindle the staff.
Yes.
There are no more god powers because all the Shazams have been sucked into the staff.
Right.
But because she's half god,
She can
she
rekindle.
can rekindle it. So
Yeah.
that makes sense. I'm not saying it doesn't.
No, but it's so here's the thing about that. I have very mixed feelings about that scene because I actually thought the the Shazam death scene was played very well.
Hmm.
I felt sad.
Yeah,
Um and because it was only the second movie, I knew like it wasn't gonna
it
do it.
wasn't gonna stick.
And that's the one that fucking kills off Superman in Batman v Superman, and then even at the end of that stupid fucking movie, like it doesn't kill him off, but then that's not what anyway. Like so this is the franchise that like already has committed to not killing off the baddie
Yeah.
or the main guy. And I will say that Wonder Woman scene at the end did take enough time, like it was long enough and played out enough where like the emotional beats hit a bit more, so you're like, all right, this doesn't feel like as cheap.
Hmm.
But I was like,
How or why?
not how or why. I'm like, all right, this is just kind of lame that you did kill him off, and it felt really like heavy, and
Yeah.
then you're like, ah, I know they're not going to commit, and they don't commit, and they do it with a stupid cameo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And they could have explained. I guess there were scenes that were either shot and cut or planned and not like shot,
yeah,
where they were gonna have different heroes in the background, like on like long wide angles, trying to get into the city but not able to get past the barrier.
mm,
And I'd be like, okay,
that would have been
at least
cool.
it sounds like they're aware that there's a problem.
Yeah,
They are conscious that they need to keep an eye on the situation. Oh, they found out that
right,
Shazam died.
right,
But besides that, there really is no way for you to really assume that.
yeah,
You could have shown like Wonder Woman from far away and be like, oh, that's the cameo.
yeah.
And then at the end, there she is because she's heard what's going on. Something. But there's the fact that there is no explanation, I think, is what makes it feel the
So
most egregious.
So Man of Steel came out in
2013,
all right. We're a decade into the
a
DCEU,
decade.
right? It doesn't even feel like it's even. gotten off the ground, right?
which is
And
insane.
now it's been shot down, right? Um, I think this is. We talked a bit about is it how much of it is a victim of COVID? Like this film really is just a victim of like the DCEU
Oh, for sure,
largely.
for sure.
Because like,
It's sad because it's the stink of the DCEU on this movie that really is affecting it, I think.
yeah,
Because you have movies by DC not attached to the DCEU
Batman.
that have gotten success. The Batman is a huge example of this.
Mhm.
Joker, as much as I think it's a very mid movie
Yeah,
with a
you don't
lot
like
of
it,
issues,
right?
it's wildly successful,
Yeah,
but it has no ties to the DCU at large, right?
yeah.
This movie, unfortunately, is.
And because it's 10 years in, right? 10 years is Infinity War, right?
Yeah.
Because it's 10 years in, there should be enough infrastructure where you could pull out like five different superheroes who are
And
trying to
have
get in.
them,
Yeah,
yeah,
but that's just not like you don't have those
you
resources.
don't.
Right.
And then there's also the other problem, which you actually posed this question, given the state of the DCU, to what extent do we give a shit about this movie? You know, it's I want to care because I
Yeah,
really do like the idea of this.
yeah. But if I'm gonna rewatch one, I'll rewatch the first one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the problem.
yeah.
Now, if it wasn't for the Superman cameo at the end of the movie,
Shazam one,
Shazam 1,
right?
I honestly think it could be completely separated
Yes,
from wide DCEU.
because the thing with that cameo is it's also self-deprecating humor.
Yes.
Yeah,
You could have angled it to say, oh, it's a different Superman.
right.
But now with the fact that they show Gal's face, you know
It's
for a fact 100% you're in the same universe, right?
yeah.
But I do think the only silver lining is I think the fact that this movie has already been impacted by this merger,
Hmm.
that or this new like change, because once James Gunn took over, they cut stuff out. They did not add anything.
Mm.
That's my understanding. They did cut out scenes with I want to say Aquaman, I think,
Oh, really?
and one of the Batmans, I think.
Interesting.
Something like that. Something was cut from the movie that
And yet we still have the Mark Strong post-credit scene, which I was like, I
yes.
didn't even remember that his character was still alive.
Yeah, no, he
Yeah,
survived the end of the last movie.
yeah.
Um, let me look up really quick who are the heroes that were cut. Because that then to me tells me, okay, yeah, so they had a Batman cameo and a Superman cameo that were cut.
Hmm.
And my thinking is the reason for that is we know for a fact that Cavill's out.
Hmm.
And we know for a fact that Batman is going to be out.
Hmm.
They've already said that post Flash, something's going to happen. They're going to be out as main Batman.
Yeah.
But they never said that Gal Gadot was out
Right.
as Wonder Woman
She's too marketable.
for sure.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that this movie was not shelved,
Yeah.
while a movie like the Batgirl movie was,
Right.
I do think
Shazam's not out.
Shazam's not out. I think that's the indication. But then the problem is they are not coming out and saying that. They're kind of still being ambiguous. So then people are not giving this a chance. They're gonna say, "Why the fuck would I go watch this movie that's probably not going to matter in a couple
Well,
years?"
then here's the thing. And maybe what we talked about earlier, this is a hard it's easy to keep your franchise going when you just have your adult actor and you're like, all right, get in the fucking suit, right?
Hmm.
You've got all these Shazam characters. You've got like the kid Shazams and the adult Shazams. So it's for this one to be one of your carryovers. Like on the one hand, it's good because it's like the first movie just like hit way above its weight, right?
Hmm.
Like it was much better than you thought it would be. Um, well, like it's not the most reliable like staple to have going
It's
from
not.
Flashpoint to DC.
It's not. And so then I guess is this movie a victim of like a self-fulfilling prophecy?
Mm.
they say maybe we don't want to say whether or not Shazam is out. We want to see how the movie does
Yeah.
and then make that decision. But because you're not coming out and saying Shazam is 100% sticking around, make sure you go see it so you know what's going on,
Right.
then people are not going to see it. So you are causing this movie to fail.
Yeah. And I think some of the, I think like, I think some of the main fixes you could do are kind of simple. Like you could just cut the post credit scene.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if there's something with the fact that Mark Strong like had a credit like I don't know how this specifically works, but like
It was
maybe
very funny.
it
I
was
had fun watching the little caterpillar
Caterpillar.
worm
Yeah.
and be like, hey, listen, man, it takes me a long time to get anywhere. Who was it? Oh, I was watching, do you know Mr. Sunday Movies?
I know the channel. I don't know what his content or like what he looks like or anything.
He's an Australian YouTuber,
Yeah.
and they reviewed this, and he was like, I would love if the whole thing with Dr. Zabala like, never comes to fruition. Just every Shazam movie has an end credit where he is just getting older and older and older. And he said, maybe at one point the worm comes back and this guy has found religion. He's like, nah, I'm done. My idea would be like the little worm shows up. It's been 30 years and he's dead.
That's funny.
I would love that.
Yeah.
That would be fun. Um, but unfortunately, I don't think this movie is going to.
No.
I don't think it's going to get a threequel.
Yeah.
Um, but again, the same thing. They have the characters from Peacemaker show up,
Yeah.
and we know that the plan is to at least include Amanda Waller,
Correct.
right? Viola Davis is Amanda Waller
Yeah.
specifically
Yeah.
as a character in the new DCEU.
Yeah.
So if they are recruiting Shazam into this, then that again signifies to me then this is probably then sticking around.
Yeah.
And, people are shitting on James Gunn saying, why are you putting your wife in everything? They have come out and 100% said this, he had nothing to do with this. This decision was made
Hmm.
because of The Rock.
Yeah. Once again, not the best superhero actor.
No,
No.
not the best wrestling actor.
Correct. Excuse me. Not the best wrestling
Yeah.
actor. Yeah.
You hear about that whole thing that came out?
I read the headline, but like somehow the Rock.
Insane.
Yeah.
Like he basically bullied himself in there. Uh, Said he did not want a Shazam cameo in his movie. He wanted the Superman cameo instead,
Which is odd.
which is insane.
Which I left now. I actually remember this now. This is how sad. This is how sad this like decent-ish movie was. I forgot. I forgot that I said this afterwards. This is how forgettable the movie was. I left the movie. It was like, hi, just fight Black Adam already.
Yeah,
like,
and that's the logical.
like Batman can keep pushing the next iteration of the Joker down the line because like we've seen it.
Yeah,
But like when Batman Begins came out, the next fucking movie was like, all right,
fucking
here's
Joker.
what you want to see, right?
Yeah,
I want to see Shazam
fight.
face bad Shazam,
Yeah,
especially when it's The Rock. So like, just do it.
man.
I still haven't seen Black Adam.
It's not awful,
No.
but again, it's so like married to these weird ideas
Yeah.
that you're kind of left in like a state of limbo where you're like, why not just push it
Yeah.
towards the Black Adam versus Shazam thing,
Yeah.
which is what everybody who watches these movies wants.
Yeah. It's like there's like some How I Met Your Father fans on Reddit who are like, I don't get why people keep comparing this to How I Met Your Mother. And it's like the theme song, the format, the name,
Motherfucker,
the characters are
it's
in.
a spin-off.
It's a spin-off. You're like, I don't get why you keep on wanting. Look, I don't fight Shazam. I'm like, look at your uniform. Look at your uniform.
Okay, so to a degree, I understand. I don't think you should expect the spin-off to be the same as the original. You want it to be its own thing with
No,
the
but
elements of the
but they're
original,
going to
right?
be compared.
Exactly,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
But I think the problem here is like they want Black Adam to be like its own thing when Black Adam, since its inception, has always been married to the Shazam storyline.
And that's the thing. Like, since Batman v Superman, this franchise is just like jumping the gun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
And the one time that we want them to jump that gun.
that's not even jumping the gun. This is like this would be logical. Like jumping the gun actually would be then giving him his Black Adam movie, right? But like introduce him where he's introduced in the source material, and then you're like, oh, this
Is
is
that
good.
jumping the gun? I think the opposite is jumping the gun. I think this is them patiently reloading the gun one bullet at a time, giving him his own spin on movie. The jumping the gun would be, all right, Shazam, second movie, Shazam and Black Adam.
Yeah, but then you have like, all right, now this is getting into the weeds. Like, all right, so Wanda doesn't get her own thing until after she's been able to be in a few.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she is a side character who is like she's initially a villain, right?
Hmm.
To be the villain, you have to be related to the hero first, and then you can grow the
Hmm.
character. Black Adam is a villain, so like
Okay, I see what you mean.
introduce him within the context of the hero, and then like
Fair,
yeah,
fair,
yeah,
fine. I'll give you that.
yeah,
I don't know. I'm concerned about the aspect or the aspect
yeah.
the prospects for this movie, because I just don't think people are giving it the right chance.
It's a good popcorn movie to watch in 3 years.
It's good, but I don't think people are going to. That's the
Yeah.
problem. Um, I don't know. Do you have anything else that you really need to add to this? Because
No, it was fun.
it was good. It was fun.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I do think people are being way too harsh on it. I
Yeah.
know we said that earlier. I still 100% believe on it. People are starting to blame Zachary Levi because of his dumbass comments like a
Right.
month ago. I don't think that's enough to
No,
say this movie tanked because of that.
no, I don't either.
Um, but it probably didn't help.
I don't think it helps.
But I don't think that's the main reason. Like this is bombing
No,
as well.
actually, I would actually even say that Marvel fatigue played more of a role in like
Probably, I
that's what.
would believe that.
Yeah, I think you could ask maybe not the layman, but I think if you pulled 5 random people off the street and be like,
Why did you not go see
what?
Shazam?
No, not why did you go see Shazam, but if you were like, hey, like, are you excited for Shazam to fight Iron Man? They'd be like, oh yeah, like sure, like, like, right, right, like they wouldn't fucking know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the person who says that Spider-Man is their favorite Justice League member.
yeah, yeah,
Ah, wonderful,
yeah.
very good. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I
Pretty much
mean,
it.
I don't know. Is there anything? Man, that $30 million domestic opening is
So sad,
so sad.
so sad.
It definitely. I'm not saying it should have made gangbusters.
No, but it should have been. It should have done better than
It should
it
have been
did.
better.
We saw it on opening night. I mean, we saw it on the opening Friday. We saw it on opening weekend. We saw it on Friday night.
Yeah,
Latest showing.
they showing.
I don't remember how crowded or not crowded the theater was.
It was very crowded. So I went to the
Was it?
bathroom, and when I
Yeah,
came back, I
it
looked, and it looked
people.
very busy.
Yeah,
Um, to me, the craziest thing is the fact that this movie did not have that stain of like having day-to-day opening and streaming at the same time,
yeah,
and that it did this bad.
yeah.
It's so sad.
Yeah.
But whatever, I'm sure Zachary Levi and Shazam will be back. Maybe just not on a full-fledged movie.
Yeah.
Um,
But we'll see.
but
And
we'll see.
Flashpoint this year.
Flashpoint is this year. That is a movie that could. I know. Back to John Wick.
Mm-hmm.
Flashpoint is a movie that could have potential for good hype. But
Yeah.
I still don't think it will not. I can almost guarantee it. But if a lot of the hype that I'm hearing, it could be like a pretty good like second or third.
Pretty good.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. All right, friendo.
All right.
Thank you for joining me on this recording for Shazam, Fury of the Gods. Um, we will be back soon also with another episode on
Dungeons and Dragons.
Dungeons and Dragons.
The better movie we saw that weekend.
The better movie we saw that weekend.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Until next time, he has been
He's
Tano.
been Javier.
And bye.
Bye.